line number 3 in Togme Sampo's 37 Practices of a Bodhisattva is not too difficult to understand. Yongyen Pampe Nyumo Rimki Dip Namya Mepe Gejo Nangi Pel Ripa Dampe Chilang Neshe Ke Wempa Tempa Gyalse Lagle Yin. This first part, Yongyen, the English translation says, giving up inhospitable places, mental afflictions gradually decrease. With no distractions, virtuous activities naturally increase. When mind becomes clear, conviction in the Dharma is born. Therefore, seeking solitude is the practice of a bodhisattva. Now, this Yongyen, Yongyen, inhospitable, I don't think it hits it. It's basically, these are negative places, negative countries, negative or bad locations, bad places. And when they're bad, when they're negative, they bring about these mental afflictions that we have, and it says they gradually increase. Ringi dip. They gradually block. They block us from being happy. Having a good and healthy mind, having a good healthy body, is a good basis for us, or the Tibetans say it's the root for sense pleasure, sense enjoyment. If you're in a bad location, meaning that there are, and I guess inhospitable would be an okay translation, but if there's wild animals that are threatening your safety, if there are bad people, bandits, and so on and so forth, wherever you happen to be living, and so on, then your own mental afflictions are going to increase, because you start to develop a distrust, and you start to develop a fear, and when that kicks in, anytime you're set in self-preservation mode, fight or flight kicks in, your attitude is to defend yourself. And the Dharma is not saying at all that you should not protect yourself, but how you defend yourself and how you view the object that you think is negative, that's what you should guard. Now, there's a great story of an old lama who was at home in his house, and someone broke in to rob him, to steal his things. And so, being a devoted Dharma practitioner, he grabbed a club and he went up to the robber, and he struck the robber really hard to chase him away. And as he did, he says, "I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha." So while he was protecting himself, he was reminding himself at the same time of his faith or devotion to the three jewels. That it's when a mosquito lands on you, you try to shoo it away, but after a while, you eventually have to you have to defend yourself, and then you practice purification. But you don't have to be a walking mat, a welcome mat for people to walk on. And so, finding a good place to live is not just protection for yourself, it's also protection for the robbers that you're going to beat with that club, and it's protection from those mosquitoes and so on. If you plant the right kind of plants around your home, mosquitoes won't ever come around. There's certain plants that these mosquitoes and bugs don't like to be around. So you plant, I think, sage, lavender, and other things that keep them away. Mums are really good also. Then the place isn't so threatening to you, and they don't cause lots and lots of emotional distractions. You want to be in a place where you're totally free of harm and totally free of harming, so that you can do more spiritual practice. You can go deeper. It's really hard to practice concentration when you're getting eaten alive by bugs and mosquitoes and such. Then it says, with no distractions, virtuous activity naturally increases. So if you don't have these distractions, Namyang me pa, Namyang or Yang is the distraction. Mepa means not having. If you don't have any distractions emotionally, then and it slowly you're not going to be put into that mental environment where you're having to protect yourself, protect your belongings, and so on. So there's also a Tibetan saying like this: Chu manyoknatang semmatrutna de, and that means water, when it's not agitated, becomes clear. Mind, when not agitated, becomes happy. So part of a bodhisattva's practice is to find that I don't think solitude is necessary here. I think it's more about a conducive environment, an environment that is suitable for you to develop these better qualities. And sometimes, you have to pull yourself away from everything to practice and develop your mental strength, your discipline, and your wisdom to be able to interact again at another time. And sometimes stepping back and watching the way beings in the reality are, the patterns that people get caught up in, and you watch them, then you're able to look at yourself and see, oh, the patterns that I myself am caught up in. And from that conducive environment, you can really get busy examining yourself and applying the methods and techniques that help reduce the negative that you create and the negative you experience. Then when you're at a much, better place, you're then valuable to others because you can explain, you can teach, you can guide. But if you don't have it, if you haven't developed your own happiness, if you haven't created your own joy, if you are not Teflon coated spiritually to deal with this kind of reality, no one's going to see it. Once they see it, everyone wants what you have when they don't have it. When you're happy, they will come looking for you. And then, and only then, will they be flexible enough to want to hear what you have to show them and guide them to higher states of joy and freedom from their own suffering.